Perry Shelgren is being mobbed.
Looking long for the bomb. He has a man.
Hello and welcome to NEC Blitz, the highlight show for Northeast Conference football. My name is AJ. I will be your host. Info is below. There's a bite coming into the air and the leaves are just starting to change color, and that can only mean one thing. We're getting ready to play football up here in the Northeast, where we play an amazing brand of football. Smash mouth hard tackles, athletic plays. We do it all up here, and it's cool to get the chance to share it with you all. So, NEC Northeast Conference football, what is new in 2024? First, rejoining the conference after 4 years in the Big South, Moon Township, you belong in the Northeast, baby. Good to have you back. The RMU, Robert Morris University Colonials, back in the NEC, along with from the depths of Lake Erie, reclassified from Division II just to join the NEC in all sports. Mercyhurst, the Lakers, join us to play some football. They're both going to join the NEC this year, replacing Sacred Heart and Merrimack. I love teams like the Central Connecticut State University Blue Devils because they've got something to prove. They won only one game in hard-hitting New Britain last year in conference, but this is a team that has some talent, has some history. They've won the NEC crown just as recently as 2019, so they've done it before. They can do it again, right? And they've got one of the best players in the conference to help them in running back Elijah Howard. This is a junior. He came from Virginia Tech. He was a Hokie. He's from Knoxville, Tennessee, former Tennessee commit. So definitely a big-time talent and had a fantastic season last year for the Blue Devils. He's coming back. He's going to do it again. And they open up the season at Central Michigan. I always love getting a chance against an FBS team, showing what you can do and kind of testing your talent, testing how hard you've worked in the fall. So having that chance there, and then, of course, have that conference schedule 11-23, November 23rd versus Duquesne. Duquesne comes to New Britain. If this team has the ability to improve like I think they do, it would be a very fun conference showdown there. Now, they have a former offensive coordinator, former Central Connecticut State University offensive coordinator, I might add, back as the head coach. Whenever an administration brings back a guy who used to coach, used to coordinate one of the sides of the ball there, usually means they've got something clicking, or this administration knew they had a guy who had things clicking. Take Mike Elko going back to Texas A&M, similar situation here in New Britain. So a team that gave up way too many points on defense last year, over 31 points on defense, but they've got some offensive pieces, so if they're able to put it back together on that side of the ball, could be a pretty good season for Central Connecticut. Your 2023 NEC champions, Duquesne Dukes, they are back, hoping to do it again. They returned a fair bit from that team, enough anyway. They went 6-1 in conference last year, only a loss to Stonehill, and made the FCS playoff. Of course, the NEC champion always gets to go to that FCS playoff. Head coach Jerry Schmidt returns. He's only been here for 2 decades. And they get back quarterback Darius Parentes, which is a massive, massive keep for them. He's the NEC all-conference quarterback heading into the season. He was the best NEC quarterback at the end of last year. Easily led the conference in passing yards, and he's here hoping to do it again. Of course, changes everything in college football, and they do lose running back Eddie Robinson. He went into the portal, hit the portal, and went over to Southern Illinois, but as much as the portal taketh away, it can also giveth. They got some Power 5 conference talent here from Carnell Davis, defensive back from Rutgers, who comes in, and they've actually lost some Power 5 talent as well. Had a defensive back that transferred over to West Virginia, so really a team that's able to get in some good talent year after year, and that's why they won the NEC last season. Of course, the schedule, looking pretty good. It's a solid slate if you're a Duquesne Duke fan. You have an FBS team in Toledo you can travel to, and then you travel to Power 5 Boston College. That's going to be a lot of fun. Perennial FCS power, Youngstown State, and then you finally get West Virginia Wesleyan at home, get into the meat of the conference schedule, and of course, that game against Robert Morris, that Pittsburgh versus Pittsburgh battle, finally back on the schedule. Here's a clip of Darius Parentes. I want to show you how much the real deal this guy is. Look at this lob touchdown pass against LIU. That's good, and that's 6 points for the Dukes. He's going to do a lot of that this season. Duquesne looking for another big year. The LIU Sharks. Let's get this out of the way first. Maybe the best colors in all of college sports. The Sharks were 4-3 in conference last year behind a very good defense. This year they've got some holes to fill. Looking at the All-NEC defensive team, just one player this year. That's Caleb Nardi, defensive back. They do have one guy on the offensive side as well, and that is Jake Tim, offensive line. On the plus side, 2 specialists out of the 3 we actually do. Will Lynch, the punter from Australia, the Gold Coast. Love to have those Australian kickers. So 4-3 last year, but replacing pieces on that defense. And really, that's the story of how successful they'll be this year, is if they're able to replicate that success. Looking at the schedule, doesn't start off easy. At Albany and then at TCU in the FBS National Championship game just 2 years ago. Big offensive team there. So it'll be a trial by fire for sure, but maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it gets a chance for those young defensive players to gel, kind of figure out how to play, get their sea legs together, and if they're able to do well with that, when they hit NEC play October 5th at Duquesne, now that defense is back to where it's expected to be, and they're able to compete for the NEC crown. This is a program that's really made some positive strides in the last several seasons. Starting off a little bit, having to get used to that Division I style football, Division I level of talent, but they've gotten there. 4-3 last year. So if they're able to replicate that defensive success, if they're able to really fill those gaps, this is a team that can be very good in the NEC. Lake Erie's own Mercyhurst Lakers kick off this season, first in Division I, first year as a member of the NEC. They're the newest member, making that transition from Division II, not eligible for the playoff until 2028. We're not voted on by the media in the NEC media days, and have no players on the NEC preseason team as a result. They're only playing 4 NEC teams this year. They're going to play at RMU, at Central Connecticut, at Duquesne, and versus St. Francis. As such, Lakers are kind of a mystery team this year, although what a big thing for the city of Erie joining Division I. They went 2-8 in Division II last year, but something big happens whenever you make that transition from Division II to Division I. You're going to have access to a lot of players you didn't have access to before. You're going to have the chance to get a lot of young, new talent that you may not have had a chance at before, and you're going to get a lot of transfers in from players who want to play, and you have the opportunity to give them that chance at Division I. Again, only 4 games this year, but very exciting times for Erie. The RMU Colonials, back in the NEC after 4 seasons in the Big South, a much better fit in the NEC for many reasons, obviously geography being one, another one being these 2 games against St. Francis and Duquesne. They get penned in ink every year. They'd play at St. Francis, but take away the pencil, this is permanent now. They're going to play St. Francis on October 26th in Duquesne, at Duquesne, in a Pittsburgh versus Pittsburgh game. RMU in Moon Township, just outside of the city, on November the 9th. 4-7 in the Big South last year. Should do better in the NEC. Definitely just a different scholarship situation with the conference. Army fits much better here. They're going to play at Utah State, an early season test. Very talented squad. Going to have a chance to see how good they are. But on offense, they should not have too many problems this year. Last year, they were a one-man show. They had Noah Robinson, a wide receiver. Fantastic, extremely talented player who actually comes back for the Colonials as well. But now they're going to bring in a running back, Tyvon Edmonds Jr. You're familiar with him if you're an NEC fan. He played for Merrimack last season. Now he's going to do it for the Colonials. And this is a kid who had over 1,000 yards last year, 1,247, 10 scores. he's going to be a big piece of what they do on offense, and at least now, a minimum, a two-headed monster. They do bring in Isaiah Stewart, a transfer from Pitt, who also might be able to get some play in there. So the Colonials looking to be a stronger team this season in the NEC, and welcome back. Want to give you a taste of what Tyvon Edmonds Jr. can do, kind of a do-everything back in that he's powerful, he's fast. That low center of gravity also really serving him well. He's going to fall forward for the touchdown here. But this next highlight especially, look at this low center of gravity. He's running through and he's tough to take down. This is a big get for the Colonials. Really excited to see how he does with them. If you like teams that have confidence in their depth, confidence in their recruiting, you like St. Francis, the Red Flash. By that I mean this was not a big player in the transfer portal. They only lost, didn't really receive, including quarterback Cole Doyle. Now, he only played 8 games last year. He got injured, and Nick Whitfield, the sophomore quarterback, is going to be stepping into play there. And so it's a team that knows what they have at quarterback and knows who they have stepping up behind the guys they've lost. Now, from an outsider perspective, it means that we don't know quite as much about the Red Flash. However, they know what they've got, and one of the guys they've got is an all-NEC linebacker with the best name in the NEC, Mercury Swaim out of Bedford, Pennsylvania. So you look for him to do some big things this year. Also got an offensive lineman, all-NEC. So you look at the line play, that's going to have to be the anchor because we don't exactly know some of these new pieces the Red Flash have. However, they won the NEC in 2022. They went 4-3 last year. This is a team that's shown that they can be solid, and if they're having that level of success with their guys, you have to expect that they know that they can have that level of success once again. You love that RMU is now permanently on the schedule. It's not penciled, it's in ink. They're going to play RMU, they're going to play Mercyhurst, they're going to play Duquesne. This is a Pennsylvania conference that St. Francis is part of, and you got to love that in college football these days. There's just not enough of it. What have the Stonehill Skyhawks done since they've transitioned from Division II? Well, they've only beaten Duquesne twice, including last season. They're the only team to do that in the last 2 years, only team to beat Duquesne last season. So, a team that's been able to step up to the big moment and win some games already. And they lose some talent to the portal, but what's the old saying? If you have a quarterback, you have a chance. And the Skyhawks have a quarterback. They got Asher Karaha. He's thrown 1,500 yards 2 seasons in a row now. And even though they've only got one player on the NEC defensive team, that is Jordan Irvine, defensive back, you have to feel good about Stonehill just because of what you've seen from them as they've made that jump from Division II. Now, they're not eligible for the playoff yet, not until 2026. However, this is a team that we've seen step up to big moments already, and no FBS teams on the schedule. They decided to leave that for the future, but they're going to play at RMU to finish the season. You know, they get Central Connecticut, they get Duquesne at home, have to travel to St. Francis, so a bit of a tough road with those 2 road games at RMU and at St. Francis, but you always like having Duquesne at home, particularly on a 2-0 win streak. So Stonehill's going to be an interesting team this year. They always seem to be, and looking forward to seeing if they can go 3-0 against Duquesne. Wagner Seahawks, 3-4 in conference last year, definitely a sign showing some improvement there, and they've got a challenging schedule this year. They're going to play 2 FBS games. They're going to play at Florida Atlantic, and they're going to play at UMass, as well as getting Duquesne on the road. So last year they went 4-7 overall, in addition to being 3-4 in conference, and you know, it's a tough schedule. It's going to be tough to replicate that, despite really showing some steps forward as Wagner's done. Now, they have got 2 players on the offensive All-NEC team, 2 players on the defensive All-NEC team, but on offense especially, we love wide receiver Jalen Bennell, and he's a sophomore. If you follow recruiting at all, you're going to know this name. He comes from St. Thomas Aquinas High School, a perennial power. He's 5'10", he's 160. He's the kind of guy that gets overlooked by the big boys, but has all the talent in the world. They've also got offensive lineman Brady Anderson on the All-NEC offensive team. On the defensive side, they've got defensive lineman Joro Liverpool, a junior, and they've got defensive back Zachary Ritchie, a sophomore. So even younger guys that still have eligibility, are getting ready to suit up for Wagner and making the All-NEC team. So this is a team that could make steps up from even last year, and this is a team that could be poised to make a big step up in 2 years. That's the beauty of college football, that you have that time to develop these players, and it looks like Wagner's planning on doing just that. Okay, so we will be back weekly with your highlights in rapid-fire fashion. Looking forward to spending the fall with you and the NEC. Once again, my name is AJ. I'm your host, and this was NEC Blitz, the highlight show for the Northeast Conference. Have fun out there. Stay safe.